Good morning again to my friends around the world and back. I became a celebrity after the bashing on the coastlines. Knows how. Probably because it was the most famous bashing of intelligence on the coastlines in stupid times. And it caused a lot of void. Now, when I try to explain things on the internet, the reason I'm not really good at speaking is because I wasn't really brought up for that. But circumstances of my own intel or line of work was that after the original Jamila was bashed in on the coastlines around the world and back, the Ivy Leagues, that you call your Ivy Leagues in Massachusetts or in New York or other places in California, will maintain the platinum White House global. That's all news on the news coming like a freight train. Why? Because in those 85 countries and 25 states connected those global, they had met the original Jamila. And they hadn't waited for the girl to become a careerist, the carrierismos. Intelligence has a job. Now, I come from Hockesa in New England, Graft City. Now, they could see it coming like a freight train, which is extremely unusual for that kind of intelligence, because if you can see void on your land, that is not 9/11. That is space sciences or math or biochem or bio like Pfizer and Johnson and others. So when they're still speaking about a dead baby on BBC, on Channel 4, in Rome, in the Vatican, just about anywhere I connected the dots global in the capital cities since I got to the Delft Lowlands Church, okay, which is not the Vatican, which is not Woolwich, which is not Amsterdam, The Hague, or Rotterdam. You have to start using your heads and not your assholes. We keep repeating that. You can train a baboon, literally, or a trained poodle. Oh yeah, you can clone the girl for all we care. Shit, classics out. And you can give it a text, coulda, woulda, shoulda from sports, 8 hours, 6 hours a day, or the accident she had on her right ankle's middle earth and the left knee, the ligament at the end. So you can do anything you want, but we are showing something. Now, when they call me Robin Hood, the reason is like if you go to the cheapest, poorest slumdog millionaire neighborhood in Cairo, Dar es Salaam, you'll have in the souk the kaftans that are about 2.5 meters tall, all white. Yeah, in the middle of nowhere. In the very back again. But you will have this in all those countries. And those 85 countries around the world connected to global. If not kaftans, then something else that reminds you of those ghosts. Or the taken away children, or what we call the adjacent borns, who are not in any shape or form related genetically to original Jamila. And they can see it coming like a freight train. So basically in high school you have Wikipedia, the Free Encyclopedia, Mac variance element is not related in any shape or form to the element bochron. That's the parents. So, they say simile gaudit. Yeah. So they're born in pioneer camps beyond the capital cities. They're D1s, Directorates of Humanitarian Relief Services, OSRO, TCOR, USAID. 160, 180 countries, at least 180 countries for him work, and 140 countries for her work. So they're speaking about high respect for them, with the hanging benches of Laura Quintas. That many 92 and above flyings around the world. I'm doing work elsewhere. That's their retirements in Fresno areas. In the middle of the desert of California, we know the famous Fresno areas from the beginning to the end. And 85 runnings around the world. They did not accept that, obviously. And, of course, the dead baby crawlies and the phoenix coming out of the coastlines. Me. They could have left her on the coastlines, but they didn't. Because the wastage would have been too much. They would say, well, there's a real in the Nobel Prizes in the capital cities of Western Europe, real to run. And they were correct, the inner circles. Why? Because if you have a record-breaking 21st century 147 to 221 social security number, which is the ending of that social security number, a blimp in time, you can stick an Avalon baby in between all of this, connect the dots global. You can. It's painful. It's dangerous. But the original, or Jamila already had her head bashed in and her teeth and her skull and everything else on the coastlines. In other words, the most famous Rompicabeça in the history of intelligence. So you Ivy Leagues are going to keep those platinum hairs in the US, the global buildings, with my social security number, or 36 Waverly. It doesn't matter. Intel is Intel, Delft is Delft, and that's the number I have. In fact, that's the name of the church in the Netherlands. You see, when I went to high school for free. Between 13 and 15. I went to London, Woolwich or Greenwich Mean Time, stupid times, schools for free, if you could call those schools. Practically, it was something like 700, 800 a year. You don't have to be jealous of a dead baby. You don't have to be jealous of 10,000 letters overnight after her atrocious death. Because we have The Hague, we have the Bureau de Veritas, and we have the Roman Tribunal wrapped up in a piece of paper. A swipe. So if you have an Avalon baby, a particular corn cob, stuck in the middle of all this, connecting the dots global, and you have such buildings, 147 to 221, with the Nobel Prizes, not just the regular people or others or beyond. No, I'm talking about the actual Nobel Prizes within those buildings, global. Sometimes even with the regular people that are in groups, you see, then you have a problem. You see, because ASWIPE won't be changed for you. They're not going to be divulging secrets to you because you're the masses. Intelligence isn't a collective thing. You think it is for the masses. That's what the people and the populations of the planet have always believed. The 9 billion on this planet. That intelligence that flies and runs is collective. It's not. Otherwise, I would have 1 million fucking Nobel Prizes and no empty buildings around the world. Space science, tech, and sciences, and biochem, and bio, Pfizer and Johnson at the end. And St. George's High School. Empty. Around the world. So when they said the phenomenon of Jamila, the original, July 20th of the 21st century dad, has the platinum hairs, that's why. That's my birthday. So considering you haven't understood that, and considering that that's the basics that you didn't understand, and you're still pumping me with how intelligent you are in the US, they've decided in the Ivy Leagues and in other places to keep their platinum hairs. Now, I know that I was born in Rome. I may have been conceived elsewhere, but I was born in Rome. And those that you call the Vatican don't get involved directly in such things. They send the Opus Dei. The Opus Dei usually represents discipline. For the girl who was flying and running, it existed. Now I have absolutely no discipline. That's why they call me the Disneyland the Scout baby. That's why there's the Scotland film. Unfortunately, those guys are based in Rome, just like the Woolwiches are based in London. Just like all the others are based abroad, US, for your divine, disgusting bashing on the coastlines, according to all of Asia. Okay? Literally. Because I even had the Chinese in high school telling me this shit. And it's tragic. So when you have such a child, or an Avalon baby, for instance, what you end up doing is training it like a poodle in a house. First, to connect the dots global, which is a necessity for other lookalikes of that child that were taking Jason Bourne's monstrosities that will never reopen anything because they already had the original girl bashing on the coastlines. That Jews were coming like a freight train is weird enough and unusual. That stuff's emptying global is bad enough with the platinum has concept, I guess, of Delve. It's negatives. Now, countries like Poland, like Czech, don't have these things. They don't. Because nothing closes that amount of science and space science buildings. Only countries that produce that kind of intelligence are the big ones, i.e. Russia. You could say Ottoman, the Turk. You could say Saudi. You can even say the Brits. Because the Brits are the Brits. And you stick in the UN. That's my blood. By now, even Brit. And I'm not going to explain how. So when they see such chasms in time, or call me the wormhole project of the UN, became proverbially the worm overnight when the ass wipe, they're saying something. Now, that's what intel is. Okay? It's not a piece of paper or a degree. It's not, I'm better. It's a mental sickness that you have on that one. Seriously. It's a mental sickness. Because knowing that I was one of the best in those things, it didn't prevent me from flying or running. But I didn't sit down. I didn't look at how beautiful the original girl was. I didn't. I didn't look at the space breaks or the science breaks in the United Nations sponsors. They care. And they remember the flyings. They for sure remember the runnings and flyings on 85 with the parents or retirements of Fresno areas. So you're angry I lived, then you're angry I died, you're angry I came back as Avalon, proved by your stalkers, Ukrainian and others from Fresno. And they're born in Fresno. So don't give me the shit of the foreign. Don't. Because to find an Ukrainian nutcase, psychopaths in the Eastern Bloc doesn't take friggin' nothing for Pole Exit, Hung Exit, and Article 7. I don't care. It doesn't take shit. And anybody with half a pea-sized brain figured that out ages ago. That's why they wiped out that asshole to Kremsky. Yeah, they will. Shit, even more. You have no idea. They did the same with Koenig, who was the head knight. And believe me, he was not an asshole. Okay, he was a bit, but not to the point that... You know... My parents said to me this. They remember that. Men have a long memory, especially Nobel Prizes. The more intelligent a man is, the more they remember. And when they see a female, the Elena Muhino of Intel, having her head bashed in on the ghost lines with no teeth on her head and everything, of course, there was a reel-in, and they could see it coming like a freight train. Doesn't matter whether it's La Sapienza or Woolwich, those countries I come from, the blood. They're just not going to waste their time. So you have the Novos and the Novos. You have eggs. Now, when you do such things to a person, because it's in the UN freak schools that you call UN freak schools, which in my opinion, you're just being bitches. But, you know... There's animal. You speak about beasts. And yeah, what beasts are you talking about? Which beasts are you talking about? The German regular police, or what we call Flatfoot, is enamored with me. Shit, Marilyn Monroe would have been nothing. You know, they're like, you don't know what you... yes. I'm like looking at them like, hallo and roll, ma va, cazzo, a bellino. I'm not German. I have the people in Germany, even in tiny villages, speaking about paperclip will help you. By extension. It's a tragedy. I don't want to say my own enemies, but when you speak about bloodlines, when you speak about breads, okay, they say the Italian because she was born in Rome for 2 high schools to be Italian. They speak about bridges shot up around the world in big cities. That was you. Wait a second, me or my group? You. That was history. I don't want to speak about it. So your Ivy Leagues will keep global until an American female with a class of her own, called that class. I keep trying to explain it's not a class. Does what that girl did, the original Jamila. So that is why they bring back Aswep. Hello, Avalon baby. Because a bashing is a bashing. The head, the skull, the teeth. So, the emptiness is caused from the death of the original. They were very intelligent about that. They're not going to be sitting there. Stacey Hooker said, New England Graft City. Oh, nee. Okay. On 92 and above of the parents on retirements of Fresno areas, they're not signed. On 85, yes, the runnings of lines. And of course, the Crawleys, Phoenix of the baby. Looking at Fresno areas from the very beginning to the very end of the retirements of the parents, who are more important to me and to others, with the hanging benches of Laura Quintus and the rule of law of Natalie Direct in elementary primary schools, you know. So, look at who Fresno areas is, hanging benches. Considering that you want to be callous and judgmental because you yourself will not reopen what that girl reopened. You yourself don't have ghosts out there, which is supports, that negatives. You yourself out there don't have the Opus Dei up your ass at the age of 5 telling you that you were worth every half penny because everything's empty because of your death. And there's a lot of copies of you, or what we call negatives. So when you have the inner circles start looking like you, professors of genetics in Woolwich, when you have Martin Snowden, the head of sciences in Woolwich, who's white hairs talking to himself, when you have that at the age of 15, when you have that, which I have, if you have that, then what are we talking about? Bitch. Oh, okay, collective. That's the US. That's not normal. I can be put through psychological torture and physical torture as a child to prepare the baby for your mademoiselles in the US. So growing up in Western Europe, they saw that. So that's why I was kicked in the ass and I was in the back of the line. Okay? Because I'm in Jos, Avalon baby. And I needed it. Probably because of your cheap horse. And you did it on purpose. Your stalkers are American. They're not foreign. You could say that they're born in Fresno. Nobody cares. It's happening on US soil. But you didn't care when the girl was alive. Now you have the Ivy Leagues with the platinum hair on your soil. Global. By now. So. And the baby stuck the watching issue. You're sick. And therefore, if that's what's famous and known around the world and back global, that's what you are, coming like a freight train on the coastlines. Losses. Your losses. On your Ivy Leagues. Similar again, eh? That's why I came back to tell you that. Now, considering that I'm not running for Miss America, I barely shave, except for the armpits now, and I'm not exactly running to be Miss anything. I'm telling you, in the glory of the potato bag and the homeless centers for 4 years, trekkings on the East Coast for a month with a hernia, right, left, to London 10 times, to Warsaw Internationals, with King Abbasid, with 4 from Saudi Arabia, with 4 NASA PhDs who bought out the Szymański neighborhoods in Warsaw, Berlin, Moscow, Saudi, Egypt, and Turk. Why they said don't go to Turk? Because the Turk is the missing link. It's the part of the family that I haven't been to. Or if I have, from a distance. So it's not being rude to say to you what they all know from the beginning to the end, because it happened too many times, even on the Crawleys of the baby. The Scott Glenn film is saying stay enrolled for retirements. She's Roman and you can't help it. The Ivy Leagues are empty, and we and Rome and La Sapienza and Woolwich and other places, those buildings, that's all news on the news for the users. And you're happy about it because you think it's going to reopen. It's going to get worse, global. That historical moment was taken away, and the passion of that girl, the leader of that movement, was taken away, or what they call space freak, or what we call genetic freak schools by now. But you're not freak. I may be freaking out, and the reason I'm freaking out is because I know how ugly you are after the passion. So when I see animals or sub-animals following me from Fresno to Frisco, after 8 years and a half of trekkings and staying abroad for 4.5 years in the Mediterranean and the capital cities with friends or families, this is what I get. So I don't like that following of stalkers. Nobody does. Considering the US is losing, now you know why it's losing. Now you know why the US loses. I don't need to point it out as an Avalon baby. So let me repeat this Robin Hood. Isn't a Slumdog Millionaire shit all over the planet? You know, I have to go to different locations, areas of cities, capital cities around the world, just for my sorry ass. Anyway, that's old news on the news. So as I was saying, the reason I went to high school with these guys, I don't know, because St. George's was different. St. George's High School was international. It had 10,000 students. And they had uniforms and clocks. When I got the pink high school in Rome, it was free. But it was only 2-3 years. As Clint Eastwood's son would say, high school, I have a cosmic egg inside my head. It's going to hatch when I'm dead with golden wings across the sea, flying high and dying free. When people gave me poetry when I was younger, I would freak out. I just freak out. So I would freak out. Don't give me poetry. Romance. Forward attitude. Anyway, bye-bye. So, the parents are born in the pioneer camps beyond the capital cities. They pioneer military sports at very young ages. Pioneer Olympics as a hobby. Languages come naturally. Science is probably easy for them. And their jobs, the official jobs, are Directorates of Humanitarian Relief Services, D1s, OSRO, they don't notice you are, USAID. So there has to be some level of respect for that many 92 and above flyings, many runnings and flyings, and many crawlies of the child. Now, how the capital cities around the world already knew and could even predict my death on the coastlines beats me on the runnings of 85 with me. So for me, tracing my way in those 85 countries, 25 states connected dots global is what I did. Now I'm 48 years old. When they say the wormhole to the worm, that's me, project of the UN. Gualtieri is the new mayor of Rome. He was born on July 16, not July 20, the birthday. My birthday, yes. I can't say my birthday because I don't exist. Of 1976 was my year. He was born in 1966. He killed 2 Nazi skins and 2 fascists. He used to belong to the Young Communists. When Meloni, who was a right-wing, came to power, the entire province of Rome elected Gualtieri. Funnily enough, he's married to a Brazilian woman who's 2.5 meters tall, and she doesn't look like a woman. But that's something else. That's only hearsay. Counterbalance, I guess, with Meloni. Anyway, that's something else. You know, I don't like numbers. I should stop Ja, wel. In any case, do me a favor. Ludovoris, don't be rude to me. You see, for me to be rude after the Rumpigavisa, coming like a freight train, the US, you gotta be kidding. Yeah, pulling the leg of somebody here. So even Ivy League is a global of the fucking planet. Oh yeah, fuck cool. I got the Germans on paperclip saying to me, I'm gonna help you too. Fuck you, US. I don't know what the fuck, yeah, where you're born. How many times? Are you gonna be sitting there and saying to me, I got this degree, I'm the best, look at my teeth, look at my... I've never seen anything like that before. Chat, a 5-year-old child who had the teeth removed, who had to watch this shit in the UN, going around, the voids everywhere. Hey girl, phenomenon. I'm looking at them, cazzo di fenomeno, fai la cazzo, fenomeno che, ma cazzo, these. Fuck you. Greenlands. Give you a real. So, intelligence, the true intelligence, or what you call the real intelligence, well, be sitting there and waiting for your judgment or your boss. They're going to look at you for what you are. And believe me, they're screwy on the intelligence. Depending on who you're hanging out with. I'm not being rude. I think that there's a level of modicum of comedy wrapped up. Yeah, leave me alone. That's, once again, not Fresno areas. So in the middle of the desert of California, it's a desert. So don't start with the fame of Fresno areas from the beginning, that many, to the end. Because it shows such a level, not only of callousness, but of personal ugliness. It's not a question of the Opus Dei saying to me, that's a discipline. And look at your family, look at their jobs, look at their official jobs, their positions, helping the world, and humanitarian relief services. I'm not going to bother with this anymore. I can't. For me, it's a sickness in the US. You understand that? And it's a sickness for the rest of the world. That's what they saw. That's why they said, Sheldon for Jr. Everyone's like, yeah, dumping that shit and radioactivity. Get the fuckers. Get the sick ones. Get the motherfuckers. Get the animals. Get the sub-animals. Get the criminals. Finish with the shit. The girlfriends, the boyfriends, the wives, the whole shit. The area, Fresno areas. That's it. But they've been saying that from the beginning. That many times. So they're looking at the US, so fuck it. If they had gone to North Korea for retirements, would that be any different? You got the abolish with Pole exit and Hung exit and Article 7. The Piłsudski moment in history, the fear of World War III, the hate towards the Russians, with the Ukrainian war happening at the moment. Abolish showing hatred towards the Ukrainians by shutting down agriculture and burning their trains, the free ag that's going through Turk. Rehashing European Union hatred amongst themselves and neighbors. Rehashing, that's what they ban Asia. That shit hates itself too. It's all over the world. Masses of people don't even think. In the capital cities, they know. In other places, oh shit, they know too. Oh my. How did that happen? Too many times. Even the Crawleys of the baby. Or was it the empty space sciences? Tech and science and bio of the dead baby. In the Western European capital cities. For the death of one girl. Of course they made a freaking myriad of negatives and ovos out of her. Shit you. And not even genetically related to the original. They ain't gotta fucking get to high school. What does they speak? I'm not gonna speak. You made it known. I'm not gonna be saying, there. Speak. I'm in pain. I'm in atrocious pain. Avalon baby. I'm obsessing about the parents. You're obsessing about who's going to be my next boyfriend overnight. What, because of the 10,000 love letters with guys with platinum hair or other guys? Till today, having a guilt trip about the dead baby. So your cheap whores in the US can start pumping their tits and the smelly assholes on me and stalk me with their boyfriends? Literally. That's what started Grabsky abroad. With Ukrainians. You mentally sick shit for the baby. Has problems and problems, what about Bob DeVille? But that's just too much. And you're speaking about the Angel Disney version out there of Cool the Voice. That's our sick fucks. What you're into. Bah. You lose. And you're angry the girl was alive, then you're angry the girl is dead, then you're angry about Fresno areas. You know, when they say cut your losses, US, there's the Scott Glenn film, Stay in Room for Retirements, and have a modicum of common sense. They got rid of Heine even if he was in love, because he wasn't for me. Didn't get rid of him in any negative way, they just brushed him off. Come on, get up. You see, they know me, literally. They know about the ovos. They know everything. They have buildings of ovos. Look, they have the Superman Building Hospital in Seoul. In front of them, the Saudi and Russian consulates. I go there to take a piss on when I'm teaching Avalon in 2009, the English schools, for half a year. And ladies, it looks like, have you ever seen people directing traffic? And I ain't speaking about North Korea, I'm talking about South Korea. Excuse me, ma'am, I need to have a blood sample and a pee. Obviously not on drugs, I have problems. Don't speak to me about the burns I had 2 heart attacks already, ma'am. I'm a trained bulldog now. You need to do pee and blood sample. What building am I supposed to do? The Superman building here. This side. The hospital. You have this shit in Seoul too. My God. Look, I'm okay with Rome and London and the other capital cities, but not Seoul. I'm not yet. I'm not Asian. No. Oh, you go to the hospital. This is regular. Go take piss. Another hallucination. Otherwise worthless. Negatives. Where's the Spriggs? Where's the beauty? Where's the beauty of the original Jamila? What's you want to know why it's famous and known just for the baby? You are fucked up in the US like there's no tomorrow. Fucked up. But you have your careerists. You have your careerists and your carrierismoses. I'll give a shit for that. I never did. Case in point. The passion on the coastlines. Was that even a line of work? I just cannot keep up this comedy for long. There's only 1%. Again, I'm only going with the water babe. Your water babe. I'm gonna shut up. Think of it this way. Think of water. I'm thinking I'm dry. Yes. But your original, well, I guess so. Thanks God I don't have a pea-sized brain like you, Fresno areas. I'm not thick as shit. At least I have a hole in the wall with what hurts. And that's after the bashing on the coastlines? What miracles nowadays. Nobel Prizes. The ex-colleagues. Yes! What a bunch of hoes. It comes to the point where, literally, the Avalon baby has to see the ugliness in the US for what it is, for the stalkers and everything else. And they smell, those girls. Beyond college girls or careerists, you know what I'm saying? They smell. And they're not poor. These girls actually have cash. They have nice houses in Fresno areas. I don't have a house anymore, do I? Under my name. away. I had to move. So much for kangaroo storage and awesome. With the internationals and the Dutch. Some only cancer, some biochem stuff like that. Yeah, I says, what the fuck? The brother of the mother who was the chief of sciences in Warsaw University, darker skin like there's no tomorrow, sends me to Moscow. He says, your mate was Moscow. Wormhole of the UN project to worm. That's why I don't pick up this. Or the real end. You didn't even get that. What am I going to be doing in Rome when I'm 5 years old? Looking at empty old buildings? Tiziano Vian? Crying for something, spilt milk, as they call it. Little cat that cried over spilt milk. Curiosity killed the cat. I've never seen such ugliness. And there you are. Never. Ever. And then you wonder, why the fuck there's overs? My ass. She's Berlin. Then you have Dennis Upton and I go on. Whatever happened, motherfucker, Holy Grail. And I was like, are you sure about this shit? We worked in groups. Well, I just can see that. That's stupid, I ain't. Excuse me, sir. The retirements of the parents of prisoners. Get your draw! Ah, yes. You finally got the basics in the US. You couldn't space bomb them. You just shot them for a junior over there. 25 April 1984, Norman, Oklahoma, a magazine. Worst county in the US, Fresno area. Well, gods, in the last 20 years, it looks like what we're in 2025. Or more. Radioactivity dumpage. Okay. And you wonder about cancer rates and all that. How the entire communities lose within the US. Proven by the Platinum House of Global. Previous work. It was not even the line of work. You are just ugly, US. I'm better. You're talking to me about Fresno areas for the parents' return. From the both. So the t-shirts of Havana are all over the US. Before retirements, during retirements, and over the capital cities. On micro release that many times. And that's not even the intel. That's the collective. Okay. The blind, the deaf, and the mute. Motherfucker. I've had enough. Goodbye. No. It's not a question of grow with love, learn from love. A film with the Devil Wears Prada, grow with love. Fuck you. You know when there's a line drawn in the sand? That's me. Now at least get to 85. That many times. You are not even thinking that many times. You're just sitting there and you're like, a bitch this, a bitch that, a bitch. You know what, US? Your government and the hanging benches that many times are paying and the Canadian consulates are waving because they know the cheapos asses of Fresno areas from the beginning to the end. Goodbye.